Okay, Prabhu, you're live.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday Krishna Katha. So, we will start with Mangalachan prayers, and then we'll do some Hare Krishna Kirtan, and then we'll go with the discussion. Welcome to all devotees who have joined both online and also in the Zoom room. Thank you, Mahaprabhu, for putting up the Mangalam prayers. So we'll do the Mangalam and invoke auspiciousness from the previous acharyas and the Lord and his associates. Gyanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshirumritam Jayana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Jena Vutale Shamrupa Kalamayam Naratisha Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopishu Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namaste Apto Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwavanush Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakapadurabhishta Prikashandabhavacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vishnavebho Namo Namaha Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll go into the discussion. First, I will do some reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on Mahaprabhu's pastimes, and then we'll discuss one of his associates, some pastimes related to one of his associates. So I will share my screen. So, Prabhu, let me know if you can see my screen, Ashram Mother Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, I can see the screen.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Mhm.
So, we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 13, Advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. যারে দেখে তারে কহে কহ কৃষ্ণ নামে ভাষা এলো নবদ্বীপ রাম. So before that, just wanted to recap. We discussed a little bit about Mahaprabhu's appearance in our last class, and then we discussed the situation there when um, Mahaprabhu chose to appear in Srinavadip Dham. Then we also discussed about some of the pastimes he did in his childhood. So we'll continue. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a student, he asked whoever he met to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, he inundated the whole town of Navadvip with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, the present Navadvip Dham is a part of the whole of Navadvip. Navadvip means 9 islands. These 9 islands, which occupy an area of land estimated at 32 square miles, are surrounded by different branches of the Ganges. In all 9 of those islands of the Navadvip area, there are different places for cultivating devotional service. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23 that there are Navavidha Bhakti, 9 different activities of devotional service. Shravanam Kittanam Vishnu Sharanam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Nasyam Sakyamatmanivedanam. There are different islands in the Navadip area for cultivation of these 9 varieties of devotional service. They are as follows: Antardip, Simantadip, Gadrumadip, Maidyadip, Kaladip, Ritudip, Janudip, Madrumadip, and Rudradip. According to the settlement map, our ISKCON Navadip Center is situated on the Rudradip Island. Below Rudradip in Antardip is Mayapur. There, Sri Jagannath Mishra, the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to reside. In all these different islands, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a young man, used to lead his Sankirtan party. He thus inundated the entire area with waves of love of Krishna. So as we see, Srila Prabhupada was is saying in this purport how to connect these 9 islands of Navadip, which are Antardip, Shimantadip, Godrumadip, Madhyadip, Kaladip, Ritudip, Janudip, Madrumadip, and Rudradip, to 9 processes of devotional service. I don't exactly recall if they relate to the devotional service respectively, like Antardip is for Shravanam, Shimantadip is for Kirtanam, but they do represent all these 9 processes of devotional service. And also, what is interesting, as Prabhupada is saying, the ISKCON temple that is in Mayapur, that's in it's not in Mayapur, it's in Ritudip Island actually, and Mayapur is in Antardip, which is below the Ritudip. So, as you see, so both of them are 2 separate islands actually, Antardip and Ritudip. And also, what is interesting, the current Navadip that is called Navadip by the local people there, as per Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur's research, and then Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur mentioned it in his commentaries in Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Srila Prabhupada also mentioned a little bit in his purports that that's actually the Katwa. Actually, not Katwa, the Kulina, ground. So the Kuliadip, Kulia part or Kulia ground. Yeah. So that's actually what happened. The Ganges, it changes its flows. So after Mahaprabhu left, the Ganges actually changed its course, and that's why what happened. The current, Navadvip city actually got moved because of the change. Actually, what happened by the influence of time, the city which was called Navadvip, it actually kind of uh, moved, and then there was this Kulia gram which became the current Navadvip. So Ganges is not steady. Ganges actually flows. And then the islands, they also change shape because of the Ganges breaking the bank, breaking the soil on the bank. Ganges is very strong, and the current is also so strong. And there used to be a time when Ganges used to actually even come to the Mayapur temple, which sometimes happens. It's called Mayapur temple, sometimes even Ganges flooded. And then the pujaris, they used to take actually boat to go and worship Radha Madhav, Astasaki, and Sriman Nishingadev, Sri Nishingadev, and the Panchatattva. Now, so as you see, actually the current Navadvip town, it's actually none other than the Kulia Gram, which Mahaprabhu named Aparad Bhanjan Kuliapat because he delivered some devotees there. Some devotees were, relieved of their offenses. That's why it's called Aparad Bhanjan Kuliapat. So it's mentioned that all the offenses gets nullified if we go and take shelter of Mahaprabhu. So among these islands, actually, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Navadvip Dham Mahatma very nicely mentioned the glories of all these islands, how each island represents to each aspect of devotional service, and then also he tries to mention stories and pastimes which happen in those islands. So as you see, Mahaprabhu actually did Sankirtan pastime in all these islands, and they are very potent. It's said that if somebody does any devotional service in Sri Vrindavan Dham, then they get 1,000 times more benefit. Then if they do devotional service in Navadvip Dham, they also do get 1,000 times more benefits. But there is a caveat. In Vrindavan, it is considered that if you do any offenses, like Vaishnava offense, Shiva offense, when you're serving the Lord or the deities, you get 1,000 times more reaction. But in Srinavati Dham, because it is Audarya Dham, that offenses does not multiply like in Vrindavan Dham. So that is an aspect why some devotees like to go to Navadvip Dham and do their devotional service, like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj when he moved from Vrindavan Dham to Navadvip Dham. Then he said, though just to teach us, he was saying, "Oh, I'm so fallen. How can I stay in shape in Vrindavan Dham? I might commit offenses." And then in Vrindavan Dham, many actually people took residence during that time of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj who were not eligible to stay in Shri Vrindavan Dham. So they were doing all kinds of nuisances. So Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj didn't like it. So he came to Navadvip Dham and he started residing there. And he was saying, somebody as fallen as me, I should stay in Shri Navadvip Dham and seek for Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mercy. So that I can get shelter of Radha and Krishna. So that way he was teaching us actually how potent is Sri Navadvip Dham and how this Adarya Dham is blessings of Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu for us. And it is mentioned in the scriptures, as time will pass by for this 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, is mentioned in Brahma Purana, the Sankirtan will increase. And the Sankirtan movement will expand. So I think that was considered from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth. So already 500 years have passed after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth, but then now we have the rest of the years. So it's it's mentioned that the Sankirtan movement will expand and flourish. And then also side by side, Sri Navadvip Dham's glories will start, magnifying. Sri Navadvip Dham will become more significant, and more people will take shelter of Sri Navadvip Dham. So then, as you see, also one other aspect is Sri Mayapur Dham. It's mentioned, right? Sri Jagannath Mishra used to stay there in the Antardeva. So there's a very nice temple, the Yoga Pit, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth. So Srila Bhakti Shastri Thakur actually established a nice temple there. And there we can see all those pastimes of Mahaprabhu's taking birth, that neem tree where he took birth. Probably it's not that same neem tree, but some other neem tree grew there. So all this can be seen. Yeah, so Sri Navadvip Dham Mahatma states the glories of Sri Navadvip Dham. If anybody is more interested, they can read that book. We'll go to the next verse. কিশোর বয়সে আরম্ভিলা সংকীর্তন রাত্র দিনে প্রেমে নিত্য সঙ্গে ভক্তগণ. Just prior to his youthful life, he began the Sankirtan movement. Day and night he used to dance in ecstasy with his devotees. So, Ashamada Prabhu, would you like to read text 32 if you are available?
You want me to read the words, translation, and purport all the three?
Yes, Prabhu.
Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
No, Prabhu, all three.
All three, okay. নগরে নগরে ভ্রমে কীর্তন করিয়া ভাসাইল ত্রিভুবন প্রেম ভক্তি দিয়া. Translation. The Sankirtan movement went on from one part of the town to another, as the Lord wandered everywhere performing kirtana. In this way, he inundated the whole world by distributing love of Godhead. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. One may raise the question how all three worlds became inundated with love of Krishna, since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed kirtana only in the Navadvip area. The answer is that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. The entire cosmic manifestation results from the Lord's first setting it in motion. Similarly, since the Sankirtana movement was first set in motion 500 years ago by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire that it spread all over the universe, the Krishna consciousness movement, in continuity of that same motion, is now spreading all over the world. And in this way, it will gradually spread all over the universe. With the spread of the Krishna consciousness movement, everyone will merge in an ocean of love of Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we can see, right, now we can see how Prabhupada is saying in the purport that the Sankirtan movement will flourish and it will spread all over the world. So Mahaprabhu said actually, পৃথিবীতে আছে যত নগরাদি গ্রাম সর্বত্র প্রচার হইবে মোর এই নাম. So this Sankirtan movement that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established, it's bound to spread all over the world because he is none other than Krishna himself. And if Krishna is saying something, that is going to happen. And we can see how it is spreading by the effort of our Guru Vargas, then the devotees. The Sankirtan movement is spreading through kirtan, to book distribution, to prasadam distribution. People are taking shelter of and the holy name, and they're also participating in spreading the holy name. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to the Brahmana that যারে দেখো তারে কহ কৃষ্ণোপদেশ, আমার আজ্ঞায় গুরু হইয়া তারও এই দেশ. So he wanted actually everyone to become guru. Obviously through following proper channel, by accepting a guru first himself, and then following that guru's order, and then trying to teach and spread Sankirtan movement. And we also see how uh, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire that this Sankirtan movement will be spreading all over the world. So it's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered a moon. He's called the moon of Navadvip. So like the moon's cool rays which spread during the moonlit night, similarly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's um, Sankirtan movement is spreading all over the world like the cool rays of the moon, which gives us immense peace, pleasure, and also fulfillment. So if anybody has doubt on whether we are on the right path, we are, because we are doing what Mahaprabhu wanted us to do. 24 বৎসর হইছে নবদ্বীপ গ্রামে, লোয়াইলা সর্বলোকে কৃষ্ণ প্রেম নামে. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in Navadvip area for 24 years, and he induced every person to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and thus merge in love of Krishna. So I was saying about this swapping of the cities. So the Kulia became the current Navadvip city, and then the current Navadvip city actually became the Kulia now. So they just changed name. So if you go to Navadvip city, you will, we can see. Also, there have been one other controversy which was going on during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. The Mayapur is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but some actually took the side that the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the current Navadvip, which was the previous Kulia. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his research, he didn't actually approve that. He confirmed with Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj that the current place, Yogapit, is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after that, the Gauriya Vaishnavas, specifically those who are coming from Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's lineage, all of us follow that same Siddhanta. So we'll go ahead. So we see that Mahaprabhu lived in Navadvip for 24 years, and then he induced everyone to chant Hare Krishna. 24 বছর ছিলা করিয়া সন্ন্যাস, ভক্তগণ লইয়া কইলা নানা চলে বাস. For his remaining 24 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting the renounced order of life, stayed at Jagannath Puri with his devotees. So we see after 24 years, Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Katwa, and then he went to Jagannath Puri on the order of his mother, and he stayed there with the devotees. তার মধ্যে নীলাচলে 6 বৎসর, নিত্য গীত প্রেম ভক্তি দান নিরন্তর. For 6 of these 24 years in Nilachal, Jagannath Puri, he distributed love of Godhead by always chanting and dancing. সেতু বন্ধ আর গৌর ব্যাপী বৃন্দাবন, প্রেম নাম প্রচারিয়া করিল ভ্রমণ. So we see what he did, beginning from Cape Comorin and extending through Bengal to Vrindavan. During these 6 years, he toured all of India, chanting, dancing, and distributing love of God, love of Krishna. এই মধ্যলীলা নাম লীলা মুখ্য ধাম, শেষ অষ্টাদশ বর্ষ অন্তলীলা নাম. The activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his travel after he accepted sannyasa are his principal pastimes. His activities during his remaining 18 years are called the Antalila, or the final portion of his pastimes. So we see these activities of Mahaprabhu, from he took sannyasa, are considered his principal pastimes. And Chaitanya Charitamrita focuses actually on those pastimes more. His earlier childhood pastimes is more elaborated in Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So these activities he was doing during his remaining 18 years, they are called Antalila because they were the final portion of his pastimes. He spent most of the time with devotees in Jagannath Puri, and then also among that significant portion of time during the last 8 to 10 years he spent in Gambhira, where he used to stay by himself. So Gambhira was a very small place in near to the head priest of Jagannath Puri's residence, Kashi Mishra. তার মধ্যে 6 বৎসর ভক্তগণ সঙ্গে প্রেম ভক্তি লোয়া এলো নিত্য গীত রঙ্গে. For 6 of the 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri. He regularly performed kirtana, inducing all the devotees to love Krishna simply by chanting and dancing. So we see among the 18 years, for 6 years, he actually stayed in Jagannath. He didn't go anywhere. He was just performing kirtana and he was inducing all the devotees there to chant the holy name of Krishna. দ্বাদশ বৎসর শেষ রহিলা নীলা চলে প্রেমাবস্থা শিখাইলা সাধনা চলে. For the remaining 12 years, he stayed in Jagannath Puri. He taught everyone how to taste the transcendental mellow ecstasy of love of Krishna by tasting it himself. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness always feels separation from Krishna because such a feeling of separation excels the feeling of meeting Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his last 12 years of existence within this world at Jagannath Puri taught the people of the world how, with a feeling of separation, one can develop wisdom and love for Krishna. Such feelings of separation or meeting with Krishna at different stages of love of Godhead. These feelings develop in time when a person seriously engages in devotional service. The highest stage is called Prema Bhakti. The stage is attained by executing Sadhana Bhakti. One should not try to elevate himself artificially to the stage of Prema Bhakti without seriously following the regulative principles of Sadhana Bhakti. Prema Bhakti is a stage of relishing, whereas Sadhana Bhakti is a stage of improving in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this cult of devotional service in full detail by practical application in his own life. To say, therefore, Apni Achari Bhakti Shikhai Shabad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and in the role of a Krishna Bhakta, a devotee of Krishna instructed the entire world how one can execute devotional service and thus go back to Godhead in due course of time. So we see that for the remaining 12 years he stayed in Jagannath Puri and continuously, and then he helped everyone by showing his own example how to be immersed in the transcendental holy name and the ecstasy of love of Krishna. So Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, as you see, that those persons who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, they always feel separation from Krishna. They serve Krishna in Vipralambha. Vipralambha means in the mode of separation, in the mood of separation. And Prabhupada even says that such a feeling of separation excels the feeling of meeting Krishna. So sometimes we see people are eager to see Krishna. Somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, can you see Krishna? Among the audience when Prabhupada was giving a lecture. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I can see Krishna. But he actually told, can you show me Krishna? Later. First he asked, can you see Krishna? Prabhupada said, yes, I can. Then he said, can you show me? I also want to see. So I think he didn't say Krishna, he said God. So he said, do you see God? Then Prabhupada said, yes, I see God. Then this person asked, okay, so can you show me God? And Prabhupada said, I can, but would you be able to, do you have the eyes to see him? Because you need to have that Premanjana Bhakti Vilochanana, right? Premanjan Churita Bhakti Vilochanana. So you need that eye which is anointed with love of God. Otherwise, it's not possible to see Krishna. So that's why Prabhupada is saying when this feeling of separation comes and it excels, when the devotee goes through progressively, and then when he reaches the stage of bhava, then this feeling of separation becomes so intense that it becomes the same as the feeling of when he will see Krishna. So and there remains no difference. Krishna Chakravarti mentions very nicely in Madhurya Kadamini how a devotee kind of shows the symptoms when he is in the bhava stage, and how Krishna gives him a darshan for a glimpse to increase his longing and attachment for him. So that way, Prabhupada is saying that if this feeling of separation of Viprarambha is more significant in the material world than the feeling of meeting Krishna. And also, he mentions this feeling of separation and meeting with Krishna are different stages of love of Godhead. These feelings develop in time when the person seriously engages in devotional service. So the highest stage is attaining prema or love of Godhead, but Prabhupada is mentioning for general populace, the way to attain it is through sadhana bhakti. One performs the regulative principles of devotional service, and then once one have somebody has sufficient level of progress, then that person can go to the next stage, or try to find the mean then how to go to the next stage, which is prema bhakti or raganuga bhakti. So we see actually sadhana bhakti, raganuga bhakti, they both are two different paths to achieve love of Godhead, as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But then also Prabhupada is mentioning first performing sadhana bhakti is necessary to purify the heart, to clean the heart from all inebrities, all anarthas which we are carrying for lifetime after lifetime. We don't know how many births we have taken. And similarly, we are carrying a baggage of karma and anarthas in our heart. That needs to be clean. And for general populace, sadhana bhakti is a way to do that. Once the heart gets purified, one will get ruchi for devotional service. And then slowly one can attain the bhava stage. And once one reaches the bhava stage, then things will become easier. And at some point, one will attain prema for love of God. So there is a sequence we can see. So that's the Prabhupada saying that we shouldn't artificially try to elevate ourselves just by following, some process. And some of Prabhupada's disciples actually went to some Babajis to get their sarupa, and they also wanted to kind of, um, achieve something which was not possible for them to achieve at that level that they were. And Prabhupada, that's why he wasn't happy with that behavior of his disciples. And he clearly expressed his dissatisfaction. So it says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually taught this cult of devotional service in full detail. So he showed by practical example. So go to the next verse. Ratri Divashe Krishna Viraha Spuran Umadev Chesta Kore Pralapa Vachan. Day and night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna. Manifesting symptoms of this separation, he cried and talked very inconsistently like a madman. Hare Krishna Ashramada Prabhu, would you like to read the next verse? Text 41.
Yes, Prabhu.
My apology, Prabhu. I think I did something this time. I'm going back there. Okay. Yeah, you can read 41 and then also 42 if you want.
Okay. শ্রী রাধার প্রলাপ যাইছে উদ্ধব দর্শনে সেই মতো উন্মাদ প্রলাপ করে রাত্রি দিনে. As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished both day and night such ecstatic talk in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Purport. In this connection, one should refer to Srimati Radharani's soliloquy after meeting Uddhava in Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented a similar picture of such ecstatic imaginary talking, full of jealousy and madness, symptomizing neglect by Krishna. Srimati Radharani, criticizing a bumblebee, talked just like a mad woman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the last days of his pastimes, exhibited all the symptoms of such ecstasy. Prabhu, can you please scroll down?
Sure.
In this connection, one should refer to the fourth chapter of the Adi Lila, verses 107 and 108. Shall I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Vidyapati Jayadev Chondidasero Gita Ashradena Ramananda Sarupa Sahita. Translation: The Lord used to read the books of Vidyapati, Jayadeva, and Chandidas, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Rai and Sarup Damodar Goswami. Purport: Vidyapati was a famous composer of songs about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. He was an inhabitant of Mithila, born in a Brahmana family. It is calculated that he composed his songs during the reign of King Sivasimha and Queen Lakshma Devi in the beginning of the 14th century of the Saka era, almost 100 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 12th generation of Vidyapati's descendants is still living. Vidyapati's songs about the pastimes of Lord Krishna express intense feelings of separation from Krishna, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu released all those songs in his ecstasy of separation from Krishna. Jayadev was born during the reign of Maharaj Lakshmana Sena of Bengal in the 11th or 12th century of the Saka era. His father was Bhojadev and his mother was Vamadevi. For many years, he lived in Navadvip, then the capital of Bengal. His birthplace was in the Birbhum district in the village Kendubilwa. In the opinion of some authorities, however, he was born in Orissa, and still others say that he was born in southern India. He passed the last days of his life in Jagannath Puri. One of his famous books is Gita Govinda, which is full of transcendental mellow feelings of separation from Krishna. The gopis felt separation from Krishna before the Rasa dance, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Gita Govinda expresses such feelings. There are many commentaries on the Gita Govinda by many Vaishnavas. Chandidasa was born in the village of Nanura, which is also in the Birbhum district of Bengal. He was born of a Brahmana family, and it is said that he also took birth in the beginning of the 14th century Sakabda era. It has been suggested that Chandidas and Vidyapati were great friends because the writings of both express the transcendental feelings of separation profusely. The feelings of ecstasy described by Chandidas and Vidyapati were actually exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He released all those feelings in the role of Srimati Radharani, and his appropriate associates for this purpose were Sri Ramananda Roy and Sri Sarup Damodar Goswami. These intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helped the Lord very much in the pastimes in which he felt like Radharani. Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this connection, that such feelings of separation as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed from the books of Vidyapati, Chandidas and Jayadev are especially reserved for persons like Sri Ramananda Roy and Sarup Damodar, who were Paramahamsas, men of the topmost perfection, because of their advanced spiritual consciousness. Such topics are not to be discussed by ordinary persons imitating the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For critical students of mundane poetry and literally men without God consciousness, who are after bodily sense gratification, there is no need to read such a high standard of transcendental literature. Persons who are after sense gratification should not try to imitate Raganuga devotional service. The songs of Chandidas, Vidyapati and Jayadev describe the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mundane reviewers of these songs simply help people in general become debauchees, and thus leads only to social scandals and atheism in the world. One should not misunderstand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be the activities of a mundane young boy and girl. The mundane sexual activities of young boys and girls are most abominable. Therefore, those who are in bodily consciousness and who desire sense gratification are forbidden to indulge in discussions of the transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. So we see here some intimate pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned. So Srimati Radharani, when she met Uddhava, when Uddhava went to visit Vrindavan as a messenger of Sri Krishna, she was actually speaking incoherently, and she was speaking with the bumblebees, as you see, and then there became a Brahmar Git uh, came out of it, and then he was actually criticizing the bumblebee because the bumblebee was looking like Krishna, blackish complexion, and then she said, "Oh, you are the messenger of Krishna, and what you came to deliver, what message you came to deliver." So she was saying a lot of things which indirectly might look like she was telling about Uddhava. But then Mahaprabhu also in his later pastimes, he actually took the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he showed all these symptoms of ecstasy where he was speaking like a madman. And then his associates, Sri Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami, who are none other than Lalita and Vishakha in the spiritual world, who are Radharani's close associates, they came to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then they helped him to release this feeling of ecstasy and separation from Krishna in solitude, in Gambhira. They helped by singing these songs that we saw of Vidyapati, Jayadev, and Chandidas. The Lord used to read the books of them, and then Sri Ramananda Rai and Damodar Goswami, both of them are excellent singers. They used to sing these songs for Mahaprabhu's pleasure. Most of these songs are said about Sri Radha Krishna's intimate pastimes, and also about how Radharani was feeling separation from Krishna. So, as mentioned, in Adilila 4th chapter, verse 107, 108, Sri Krishna's Goswami mentions about these symptoms of ecstasy that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling in the last days of his pastimes. It means the last 10 years, 8 to 10 years, it's 8 years specifically, when he became completely immersed with internal pastimes, feeling separation from Krishna, and then he winded up his pastimes at 48 years of age. So we see in the next verse how Prabhupada is mentioning about these famous poets Vidyapati, Jayadev, and Chandidas, and how the Lord used to read their books, and at the same time he used to release the songs with Sri Ramandara and Sri Damodar Goswami. When Sri Damodar Goswami and Sri Ramandara used to sing these songs for the Lord's pleasure. So we see some background. Prabhupada in the purport has given some background of Vidyapati. Vidyapati used to write mundane songs before, but then later, due to a specific incident which happened in his life, he started writing songs about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. So as you see, he was, in the beginning of the 14th century of the Shaka era, he came. So it is like 100 years before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And which is interesting that his descendants are still living. I mean, at least they were living when Prabhupada wrote this purport. And then these songs used to actually increase the ecstasy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his separation of Krishna. And then we see Jayadeva Goswami has been mentioned. And it's interesting that he was born actually during the reign of Maharaj Lakshman Sen of Bengal. He was the last king of Bengal, Lakshman Sen. Then we know that Ikir Dimal Bhaktir Khilji came, and then later the Bengal was took over by the Mohammedans, and they reigned for several years. And then we see that he lived in Navadvip, Jayadev actually. It's mentioned actually, Lakshman Sen actually wanted to meet Jayadev Goswami. So, but then Jayadev Goswami was already kind of staying like a renunciant. He was busy in preaching and then engaged in devotional service. So he did not want to meet Lakshman Sen. So then Lakshman Sen actually took the form of a common man, and then he went and met Radha Goswami. All these pastimes are mentioned actually in Srimad Mahatma. We see, and probably also a little bit in Bhakti Ratnaka. So we see how then Lakshman requested Jayadeva Goswami to stay in Navadvip. But later Jayadeva Goswami had to leave Navadvip, and then he went to, because he got order from Jagannath, Sri Jagannath, he got an order from Jagannath Dev in his dream, and he left Navadvip, and then he went to Puri in Nilachal, and we see how he wrote the Good Govinda, which is still sung in the Jagannath Puri temple in the evening. Sri Jagannath Dev likes to hear Git Govinda very much. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to hear this also because it used to help him relish the separation from Krishna. And then we see Chandidas, who is another poet. He was born in Bengal in Birbhum, almost the same time of Vidyapati, and they were friends. So he was also a great poet. So we see how all of these songs used to increase the stature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur actually warns later that people who are on the mundane platform, they should not read these books. These books are for, Prabhupada actually mentioned to his disciples, these books are for very elevated souls, or those who have progressed enough in devotional service. And we see the risk here. If somebody is reading these books without having proper qualification, they will just end up misunderstanding the philosophy and these pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And then that's why you see all these Charajya Sampradayas which have sprouted. They actually made everything cheap. And that's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted this Charajya Sampradayas to be identified. And he personally he gave responsibility to Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur to identify and make people aware of these Sahajiyas. So here we see Prabhupada mentions that the songs of Chandidas Vidyapati and Jayadev, they actually describe the transcendental activities of the Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani and their associates, and the Rasadans specifically for the Gita Govinda. But then if somebody with a mundane or materialistic views read these books or hear these songs, and this will lead to social scandals and atheism. Prabhupada even mentioned atheism. There's a very heavy word. Actually, Prabhupada mentioning what Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur said. So it's a very heavy word. So it can even lead to atheism, because what happens with the Sahajiyas, they start with like imitating the pastimes of Krishna, and then later what happens? They feel that they are God. That way, that leads to atheism at some point, where they feel that there is no God. So And that's why Prabhupada very clearly warns to be cautious while accessing any literature and knowing one's adhikar, what I can read, what I cannot, and then praying to Krishna and Lord Gauranga to give their blessing so that at some point we do become eligible. We don't want to remain also in neophyte level. We also want to progress, and at some point we want to become elevated enough so that we can seek permission from our guru and mentors that we can engage in some serious service for the Lord, which will come when the proper time comes. But till that now, the recommendation that Sri Prabhupada gives is to continue the sadhana bhakti, the regulative principles of devotional service, following the rules and regulations which are in the scriptures strictly. And then also by that setting an example, even if somebody reaches to that stage of devotional service where they have achieved bhav, still the recommendation by the acharyas is to continue externally the regular processes of devotional service, like chanting the rounds and doing kirtan, and then at the same time all the process of devotional service, whichever somebody is accustomed to practice, to continue practicing, not to abandon them. And internally, then what happens? The elevated or advanced devotees, they do some intimate practices of devotional service, but externally they continue following the rules and regulations which I mentioned in the scriptures. So we will go into some pastime about the Lord's associates. But before that, I want to see if there are any question or reflection, either online or in the Zoom room. Ashwamada Prabhu, can you please check?
Let me check, Prabhu.
Thank
Are
you.
there any comments? Okay, I don't see any comments on YouTube. Let me check Facebook.
Okay, Prabhuji. So,
yeah, there are no comments, Prabhu.
Okay, no question or reflection?
Yeah, I mean,
you want to mention anything, Prabhu? Hare Krishna? Are you there, Prabhuji?
Yes, I am there.
Yeah, I'm saying, Prabhu, you want to mention anything?
Yeah, there were some some of the channels, it had its volume up, so it was sort of echoing.
Okay.
My observation here is I think Bhakti Siddhanta. So we have to also look at the what are the acharyas saying, which are closer to our times, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we see that like for example, I will give you some example, like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if I'm correct. He actually, that Tulsi Maharani prayer where we say, right,
Yeah.
I I pray that I become the Dasi of uh, Tulsi Maharani, right? That is that prayer, Narottam Das Thakur, I think. That was, he said that that was basically for someone who is very advanced. But then for us, basically, we should just, Vishnu Bhakti Pradayate, that is the one only we should sing to Tulsi Maharani. But then Srila Prabhupada started that, right? He started preaching. So we have to look at which is closer. Whenever there is a conflict, we have to look at which is the closest, basically, to in time and place, closest to you. Like for example, Mahaprabhu, read with Ramananda Rai and Sarup Damodar Goswami those confidential pastimes of Vidyapati, Jayadev, and Chandidas. But then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is sort of is cautioning us. And although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that, they were Paramhamsas, and we should, as long as we have sense gratification, we should stay away from this, from those scriptures. Basically.
Yes.
So we have to be also careful what we read, because whatever we read, it builds our consciousness.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was a very nice realization. And we see that's why here also it's mentioned, right? Bhakti Shashira was saying that the persons who are after sense gratification should not try to imitate Raganuga devotional service.
Yeah.
So there are two parts of devotional service, Vaidhi and Raganuga, right? So Raganuga process is more spontaneous, where somebody does not need to force them to do devotional service. So we can ask ourselves whether we need to force us to do the simple devotional service like chanting the rounds, then performing whatever services we are doing, and then also we can introspect what is our consciousness. If these are not coming spontaneously, then it's very clear that we are not eligible to try and imitate Raganuga devotional service at this point. Even mentions if if persons have desire to enjoy any way and then have desire for sense gratification, then also the Raganuga devotional service is not the path for them. So that's why the Raganuga devotional service is to be practiced by those who were more advanced previous times. But then Srila Bhakti Shastri Thakur actually saw how Kali Yuga is progressing and how it is making people more kind of, I would say, confused, at the same time less patience. Also, the complexities of the world was increasing, the sahajiyas were increasing, and that's why he did not encourage, as you see, imitating Raganuga devotional service.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move ahead. So today, actually, it's actually disappearance day of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj, and then appearance of Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami, and both of them are linked in a very interesting way. Actually, Gopal Bhatt Goswami is the Param Guru of Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj. Because Ramchandra Kaviraj, this Guru Dev is Srinivasacharya, and Srinivasacharya's Diksha Guru is Gopal Bhatt Goswami. So we have learned a lot about Gopal Bhatt Goswami. So I would, because of shortage of time, I would focus with some pastimes of Ramchandra Kaviraj Mahasaya. So we see his title. His title is mentioned as Kaviraj. So this title was given by Jiva Goswami and some other saints in Vrindavan during Jiva Goswami's time, because they were amazed hearing the poetical renditions of Ramchandra Kaviraj, of Ramchandra. And by being moved of his poetical ability and his poetries, they unanimously gave him the title Kaviraj. Actually, Srinivas Acharya has some other disciples, and it's very interesting. I think there are at least what I remember, there may be five more. All of them have title Kaviraj. And some of them are very um, learned, and they were very like advanced poets, and they were obviously very spiritually minded, and they wrote poems glorifying Mahaprabhu, Radha, Krishna, and their associates. So Ramchandra Kaviraj, he was born in the Bengal area, and his dad, his father was a very pious soul. So his mom and dad, his mother and father were Chiranjeev Sen and Sri Shunanda. So Chiranjeev Sen actually was from Kumar Nagar, but he moved to Srikhanda later, and he associated with many um, glorious devotees and saints in Srikhanda. So Ramchandra Kaviraj, when he was very small, he and his brother Govinda, they moved to his maternal grandfather's place. And when they moved there, he was actually practicing medicine. So he was a doctor, Ramchandra. And while practicing, he also got inclined to the Shakti philosophy because of philosophy of the day in Mahamaya, like, um, the Devi Bhagavat and all this related. Because his grandfather was an ardent follower of Shakti, and he was doing Shakti worship. But then later, a very interesting story was there that he got married to Ratnavali. And then after marriage, he was coming back with Ratnavali in palanquins. That days, they used to actually use palanquin for special occasions, not like car. Nowadays, what happens when somebody goes to marry, they use a car. Nice, some in our Bengal area, they nicely decorate the car with flowers and leaves. Most part of India, they do that. But then there were no cars. So what was the uh, medium to um, go to places during these special occasions, specifically the bridegrooms and the bride, is through palanquins. So he was on a palanquin, his wife was on another palanquin, and they were actually going back to his place of residence. And then what happened? He saw the Sri part of uh, Srinivasacharya. So there are Srinivasacharya actually in a veranda. He was actually, or the, it was a veranda, it was an open space on the ground. He was actually speaking some of his disciples. And when Ramchandra Prabhu saw Srinivasacharya, he was very much moved and attracted to Srinivasacharya. And he felt he has some connection with Srinivasacharya from previous life. So then what he did is he decided within his mind that he would like to meet this um, great personality. Srinivasacharya was also very much attracted towards Ramchandra Kaviraj, and he was telling his disciples, he was laughing actually after seeing Ramchandra Kaviraj. So his disciple asked, "Why you're laughing?" And he said, I mean, everyone knows who's this person going on in a palanquin." So then the disciples, "Oh, that's Ramchandra Kaviraj. I mean, he was not a Kaviraj then, so they're saying, oh, that's Ramchandra. He's a very learned person, and he's also a doctor. So then Srinivas said, okay. He was laughing because I was thinking how this good soul got trapped in the material world, now got married, then there will be further entanglements. If that's true, if somebody is not in devotional service, then this material world is nothing but a kind of, it's area. It's a place of entanglement. There are so many ways one gets entangled. One gets entangled to house. One can gets entangled to their children. One gets entangled to wealth. One gets entangled to their significant others, and then there's so many ways this entanglement happens. So that's why Srimad was hoping that he can deliver this person. So Ramchandra Kaviraj, after he went back home, he felt that he he needs to meet this great soul. So once he and Ratnavali were accepted in his place with pomp, that night only he took permission from Ratnavali and he left to meet Srinivasacharya. And then when he went and met Srinivasacharya was very delighted. He went and offered posterior obeisances to Srinivasacharya. And Srinivasacharya mentioned, oh, my desire has been fulfilled. Come, and then he embraced him. And then Ramchandra said, my dear Lord, I want to take shelter of you. Please give me your blessings. So then Srinivasacharya said, of course. He then initiated Ramchandra in the next auspicious tithi, and then he also taught him about the Gauriya philosophies. Actually, Ramchandra was very much interested to learn, and then he taught him the uh, secrets of devotional service. He also taught him about how to perform devotional service, the nine process of devotional service, everything. So then, after staying there for some time, he took permission from, his guru actually ordered him to go back home. So he took permission and he went home. There, he and Ratnavali, they led a very Krishna conscious guest life. He didn't have any children, but they were completely engaged 24/7 in service of their Gurudev, Srinivasacharya, and also Ramchandra was preaching. Then a very interesting pastime ensued. What happened? Srinivasacharya used to meditate on the Lord, Radha and Krishna and their pastimes. So one day when he was meditating, he got so immersed, he went into Samadhi. Samadhi is the stage when you get completely immersed. So he actually went to Samadhi and he was not waking up. So his wives, they became really anxious. So they called for Ramchandra Kaviraj. They said, hey Ramchandra, can you please see that your Gurudev has been in meditation for 2 days. He hasn't eaten anything. And see, his breathing is so slow. He might die if it continues like that. They were very much worried about him. So, Srimati and Ishwari, two wives of Srinivas, they requested Ramchandra Kaviraj to see what is happening. At the same time, the king, actually Ramchandra and Srinivas, they used to stay in nearby villages. And the king of that place actually requested also Ramchandra Kaviraj, can you please go and check? Because that king was also a disciple of Srinivasacharya. Srinivasacharya initiated many disciples, and some of them are kings. He had that much influence during that time. So he asked, can you go and check what is happening in Srinivasacharya? So Ramchandra Kaviraj went there, consoled Srimati and Shri, and then he also sat in meditation from beside Srinivas. And then he also went into samadhi. And then when he got transported to the spiritual world in Sri Guru Vrindavan, he actually came to a place where there were a lot of giggling happening. And he looked around, he saw some manjaris and sakhis of Srimati Radharani. They were talking about Krishna. And then he saw Srimati Radharani and Krishna at a distance. They were together. And then he started looking for his guru. So in spiritual pastimes, actually he is none other than Ramchandra Kaviraj's Karuna Manjari. And then his guru there, who is Srinivasacharya, is Mani Manjari. So he started looking for Mani Manjari. And he saw some manjaris. He asked, "Have you seen Mani Manjari?" And they said, "Oh, Mani Manjari has, is in the water." Actually, what happened when Krishna and Radharani with their associates were performing Jalakeli or water pastimes? What happened? Radharani's nose ring was lost. It fell into the water. So Radharani is upset because it's a very beautiful nose ring, and it's one of her favorites, so she wants it back. So Rupa Goswami then, Rupa Manjari, who became Rupa Goswami in Ganga Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Rupa Manjari was very anxious. Though Radha and Krishna went after Jalakila pastimes ahead, she wanted to find that nose ring back and give it back to Radharani. When Mani Manjari saw and understood Rupa Manjari's intention, she actually jumped in the river. So we see Srinivasacharya as Mani Manjari, he actually is in the water searching for that Nolak. In Bengal, we call it Nolak in Bengali. And that nose ring. It's not nose earring, it's nose ring. My apologies for the representation. Okay, so he couldn't find it, and that's why he was stuck. I mean, she was stuck. Mani Manjari was stuck in the water of Radhakund. She was frantically searching for the nose ring. But then, seeing this situation, Karuna Manjari, she, as we know, Ramchandra Kaviraj became Karananjali. She actually dived in the water, and she was able to she was able to find that nose ring in one of the leaves of the lotus. Then she brought it and gave it to Mani Manjari. Mani Manjari was so happy. She then gave it to Rupa Manjari, and Rupa Manjari went ahead and put the nose ring back to Radharani's nose. Then Radharani became so happy, she gave some chewed betel nuts from her mouth to Mani Manjari, and Mani Manjari then gave some of it to Karuna Manjari. So remember, Karuna Manjari is Ramchandra Kaviraj and Mani Manjari is Srinivas. So once nose ring was found, then Mani Manjari was requested by Karuna Manjari to go back now to their earthly pastimes. So both of them agreed because Srinivasacharya's wives were worried, the king was worried, everyone was worried around. So both of them went back. And when they came back, both of them woke up from the samadhi. So then the wives of Srinivasacharya, they gave prasadam to Srinivasacharya. And later they heard all the pastimes from Ramchandra. And they were astonished. So then there are also mentioned that Ramchandra Kaviraj then went to Vrindavan. But before that, I wanted to point out actually while doing service also there is a hierarchy which we see. So Karuna Manjari gave it to Mani Manjari, Mani Manjari gave it to Rupa Manjari, and Rupa Manjari gave it to Radharani. It's not like Karuna Manjari found it and directly gave to Radharani. So there is a protocol even in the spiritual world. And the material also, we try to do the devotional service through our guru. We do it as edit, and we offer whatever we are doing. Like if you're doing deity worship, we offer it refers to our guru, and then our guru then and then we offer then different articles of worship to the deities. So that's how we have to go through our guru, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru and previous channels if you want to achieve success in devotional service. Later, there have been pastimes Srinivas Acharya and Ramchandra Kaviraj, they met in Vrindavan. Ramchandra Kaviraj met all the Shara Goswamis. And then also he became a very close associate with of Narottam Das Thakur when he was in Bengal. And Narottam Das Thakur actually mentions in his song where he mentions that he wants the association of Ramchandra Kaviraj, right? So let me tell exactly what he mentions in this song. So he says that তার সঙ্গ মাগে নরোত্তম দাস. So Narottam Das was resigning actually both Srinivas Acharya and Ramchandra Kaviraj's association. And Ramchandra Kaviraj actually wrote a very beautiful verse which said প্রকাশিলা মহাপ্রভু হরে কৃষ্ণ মন্ত্র প্রেমের বাদার পরিবারিলা সংসার অন্ধ অবধি যত করে পার্শ্ব বিন্দু না পড়িল মুখে রামচন্দ্র দাস. Sriman Mahaprabhu is so kind that he manifests the nectar of Hare Krishna mantra. The holy name will free all souls from the cycle of birth and death, from lower planets, from hell. The holy name will give one a taste of divine love for Sri Radha Madhava. Whether blind or dumb, anyone can drown in this flood of prema. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has filled everyone with love of God. But Ramchandra Das is so unfortunate that he could not even taste a drop of that nectar. So Ramchandra Das is being humble, as you see. And he's mentioning that he couldn't taste even a drop of nectar, and that we see in all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how humble they were. So then he also mentions okay, let's skip that. See, actually, in one of his another part, he offers obeisances to Narottam and Ramchandra, and he says that I pay obeisances to Narottam and Ramchandra who are devoted to all those who have dedicated their lives to Supreme Lord. So this is mentioned by actually Narahari Chakravarti Thakur, not Ramchandra, in Bhakti Ratnakar, where he says he offers obeisances to Narottam and Ramchandra. And then Narottam Das Thakur, as he says, দয়া করে শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গ মানে নরোত্তম দাস. He says, please be merciful, Prabhu Srinivas Acharya. Narottam Das begs for Ramchandra's association and also Srinivas Acharya's association. So there are so many pastimes related to Srinivas Acharya, and he met actually Gopal Bhatta Goswami and all the Chara Goswamis, including Jiva Goswami, when he went to the Vrindavan, and then I think he didn't meet Sri Rupa and Sanatan because both of them left their Atli. I mean, they winded up their Atli pastimes, but he met the other four Goswamis, including Prabhupada Goswami, and then he received their blessings. So yeah, and then later what happened? He also visited Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, and then later he took residence in Vrindavan Dham at the later stage of his life, and then he also winded up his Atli pastimes there. So with that we'll end, and I will just summarize before we go for reflection. So today what we discussed about the pastimes of Mahaprabhu's appearance, and then his pastimes in Navadvip, and then also a little bit in Shikuri Dham. Then we discussed about one of his associates pastime, Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, who is a disciple of Srinivas Acharya. And then we also discussed some of his poetical works. He wrote actually many scriptures and poetry books. So with that, we will end the class today, and I will request, I mean, before ending, I will request actually Ashramada Prabhu if there are any reflections or comments or any questions if you're online.
Yeah, let me check, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't see any online comments, but yeah, thanks for the summary, and you went deep into the pastimes other than what is given in the purport. Yeah, those are very interesting pastimes, very devotional pastimes, right? Particularly the one you mentioned where whoever found the ring, he she actually she in the past time it was she, so she gave it to whoever asked her. And then so it is, I think there was one lecture in which I don't know whose lecture it was, one of the ISKCON speakers. He was saying that this actually shows dasanudasa, kind of dasanudasa protocol we follow, that whoever gave you the instruction, you just respond back to that person that you have done it. And the idea is not to get a credit or be recognized by the topmost person. The idea is that you have done your service and you don't have any desire for recognition. I think that is very important. If you want to really follow the dasanudasa principle, one has to give that desire for recognition, because even if you have a little desire for recognition, there is a chance that someday or the other you will kind of transgress that protocol,
Hmm.
because that desire will push a person. So that was my observation, reflection.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very interesting. And as we see, um, actually, Ramchandra Kabir gave to his guru, Srinivas Acharya,
Yeah,
and then Srinivas Acharya gave to the leader, Rupa Manjari, and then Rupa Manjari went and gave it to Radharani. So that way we see, right, how this chain of command is maintained even in the spiritual world.
yeah,
And as you rightly mentioned, they didn't become puffed up that, oh, yeah, Mani Manjari didn't say, oh, my associate found the ring, or Karuna Manjari didn't say, I found the ring. The mentality was to serve,
yeah.
and that's why they got rewarded. They got blessings of Radharan.
Remnants. Yeah, pure bhakti.
Yeah,
Those remnants were pure bhakti.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, Prabhu. So, would you like to make any last comment
Yes.
or an announcements if you want to make any before ending
Yeah.
the class? Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your broadcasting and your help in
No,
um,
because
mm,
we have
this
speakers like you.
presentation.
That's why I come every Wednesday, to listen to the topics. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। अनिरुद्ध निताय चाँद प्रभु की जय।
Srila Prabhupada ki
पाद की जय।
jai.
गौर
Prabhu,
भक्त वृंद की जय। प्लीज
jai,
गो
Prabhu.
अहेड। यस
Prabhu, you
प्रभु।
have any last minute announcement about classes or anything?
Yes, I just normally say that Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday and this Sunday, Saturday morning and Sunday evening, please do come to our temple. Because we have some elevated sannyasis, Jayadhyata Swami and then Sankarshan Prabhu. They will come and give lectures. We'll also see Vaisesika Prabhu in the morning Japa session. So please do come as early as possible, so that you can get association of many elevated souls in our sampradaya. So that is the Saturday morning and Sunday evening. And next Wednesday again, we will do the online only session. You wanted to share anything, Anirudh Nitaichand Prabhu, about the announcements?
No, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It will be a very, kind of, I would say, great opportunity for everyone to get association of this case, Visheshika Maharaj and all this other Jagata Swami and Sankarshan Prabhu.
Yes.
So I would like to join on this session. Just wanted to mention.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you taking time from your busy lives and joining this Wednesday online class. I will now close the session. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Gopimanand Hari.